Good evening, and welcome to the 2020 Apex Awards. I'm Rajeev Majumdar, one of your co-hosts for the evening. I'm the immediate past president of the Washington State Bar Association, and I practice in the extreme northwest corner of the state in Blaine, Washington, on the Canadian border.
Hi, I'm Sciuchetti. I'm your other co-host for tonight's event. I am the current president of the Washington State Bar Association. I practice at Miller, Nash, Graham & Dunn in the extreme southwest part of our state, beautiful America's Vancouver.
As you know, it's been a heck of a year. Normally, we would try to honor our luminaries with a seated dinner in downtown Seattle at a very fancy hotel. But this year, we're bringing it to you live in your living room.
So sit back, relax, and go grab something out of the fridge. The Apex Awards celebrate the luminaries of the legal professionals across the state as we acknowledge professional excellence, Apex. Before we get into the show, let's give a round of applause to the 2020-2021 Board of Governors. Your president is President-elect Brian Tollefson. Your at-large governors are Hunter Abel and Russell Knight. District 1 Governor is Sunitha Anjavel. District 2 Governor is Carla Higginson. District 3 Governor is Lauren Boyd. District 4 Governor and Treasurer of the Board is Dan Clark. District 5 Governor is PJ Grabicki. District 6 Governor, Brett Pertzer. District 7 North Governor is Matthew Dresden. District 7 South Governor is Gene King. District 8 Governor is Brent Williams-Ruth. District 9 Governor is Brendan Peterson. And your District 10 Governor is Tom McBride. Thank you, governors, for your leadership and volunteering for service to our members and the people of Washington.
And throughout the evening, feel free to congratulate our award recipients by using the Twitter handle and hashtag featured on the screen. There it is, featured on the screen. That way they will hear your congratulations directly. And if you want a curiosity about what they're getting as a physical reminder of their award, take a look at these crystals. Now let's get on with the show. Our first round of award recipients include award winners for the Outstanding Young Lawyer Award, the Angelo Petrus Award for Lawyers in Government Service, the Professionalism Award, and the Sally P. Savage Leadership and Philanthropy Award, which is given jointly with the Washington State Bar Foundation.
And new this year, please take note of the guest announcers for each award, many of whom are familiar faces. I'll be back afterwards to queue up a very special interview that you won't want to miss.
Good evening. I am Justice G. Helen Whitener of the Washington Supreme Court, and I am thrilled to introduce this year's winner of the Outstanding Young Lawyer Award, Jordan Couch. Mr. Couch is a partner at the Palace Law Firm in University Place, a feat he accomplished in 4 years. His work revolves around fighting for the rights of injured workers. Mr. Couch is an accomplished young lawyer who understands the true meaning of providing access to justice in the legal field. He gives freely of his time, volunteering at the Seattle Union Gospel Mission, and recently, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, volunteers pro bono time to consult with people who need help interpreting government restrictions. He's the chair of the Washington Young Lawyers Committee and is among the leadership at the Tacoma-Pierce County Bar Association Young Lawyers Division. Congratulations, Jordan, on receiving the WSBA Young Lawyers Award for your distinguished work. Now, let's take a look at his work.
Jordan is, really just the beginning of his career, making a lot of impact. And I think he's going to be involved in how we think about practicing law in the future.
I met Jordan through the Washington Young Lawyers Committee. When he became the chair of the committee, he was very good about engaging everyone. Rather than having like committees, he called them project teams so that everyone was working as a team, asked everyone questions, wanted their contribution.
I think Jordan is really driven by a sense of creativity and a desire to serve his community.
He's a very dedicated person. It's all about helping the public, getting out there, trying to get people involved.
He's a speaker on the national level. He's an author. He has a regular contribution to the State Bar Journal at WSBA. He's put together tech meetups where they talk about ways to better serve people with technology and how a specific problem could be solved.
Where I think lawyers are going to have the best advantage is when they come in with an open mindset to technology so that they're not only seeking out what's available, but also demanding the things that they want. Some of the best tools we use in our office are tools that we created or had designed for us.
Jordan is the cultural ambassador at Palace Law, and what that means is that he is responsible for making sure that we're living and talking about our firm's core values, and the service part of it is really what drives him, and he's just really good at it.
And it's also about building better relationships with clients. So every client that comes into my office, before they hire me, I go over all of our core values with them. And that's my promise to them, that I want them to hold me accountable to those.
His enthusiasm and demeanor are infectious throughout our office, and so he really just makes a wonderful impact. He did develop this Instagram page for our office called Palace Paw, and it features many of the firm's pets.
Jordan's a great guy and he's very fresh in his career right now. He's going to go places.
I do want to thank my wife, Maria, and my entire family for supporting me through all of this, and I am so grateful.
Hi, I'm Brian Moran. I'm the United States Attorney for the Western District of Washington. I'm thrilled to introduce this year's Angelo Petrus Award for Lawyers in Government Service. This year's recipient is Nancy Copter. Nancy, congratulations, well done, and thank you for all the work that you've done on behalf of Washington's families and children.
In my 30 years with the Division of Child Support, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about me, I learned about the law, and I learned about how to help people through the system. And I worked as a support enforcement officer, the actual caseworker. I worked as a claims officer, which is an attorney. And then since 1995, I was in DCS headquarters, where I worked in the policy unit.
She is the person that most people think of when they think of the family law section. She's a phenomenal lawyer. She's a phenomenal leader.
I don't think that there is a family law attorney in Washington who doesn't know Nancy Copter, because she is very free with her advice on the family law listserv, in volunteering and speaking several times a year at seminars. Her knowledge about child support is just unmatched.
Nancy Copter is far more than a licensed attorney. Nancy's impact has been far and wide. It's not only on the grandparent population, but also parents navigating through divorce, our community, our colleagues, people like myself, nonprofit directors trying to help families. Nancy's there to guide us all.
One of the reasons I loved my job was I felt that I was a way to help people navigate the system.
We found ourselves receiving more and more calls from relative caregivers asking for assistance. So my first call was to Nancy and asked her, can you help us understand how to navigate the child welfare system for this population that continues to grow? And she was on it. And she not only explored the child welfare system, she explored other systems that she knew this population would be impacted by. A pair of grandparents in their 80s came to speak with me about taking on another child. This is their third, and they didn't want to see this kid go to the foster care system. I called Nancy, and within a half an hour, she had explained to me how to navigate through child support, offered to meet with the family to guide them to the courthouse to get the paperwork that they needed, and even now in her retirement is offering to volunteer and help support other families. She's just got such a big heart.
Nancy has worked for 30 years providing information to legislators, to the governor's office with regard to pending legislation. She has had to put together federal requirements.
One of the things I am most proud of in my career with the Division of Child Support is helping to develop policy and procedures that recognize, yes, domestic violence is going to have an impact on a child support case, and here are things that staff can do to make it safer. I also became part of a national child support and family violence task force that was created by the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement. And so I got to train people all over the country.
Nancy cares. She's compassionate. She stands up, speaks up, and makes it happen.
She deserves not only the Government Service Award, but frankly, Lawyer of the Year, Lawyer of the Decade. The accolades could not be enough. How she manages to work so hard and get along so well with so many people while maintaining that sense of humor and freely give of her time and expertise about child support matters for free to all the family law attorneys across the state is nothing short of remarkable. And we owe her a debt of huge gratitude.
Hi, this is Rob McKenna, former Washington State Attorney General. It's my honor and pleasure today to introduce this year's winner of the Professionalism Award, Jean McCoy of Vancouver, Washington. This award is presented to someone who exemplifies the spirit of integrity, collaboration, and compassion in the legal profession. There's no one more deserving of this than Ms. McCoy. Her nominators describe her as compassionate, reasonable, and fair, a leader in our legal community, and past president of the local bar association. She's known for lifting others up and helping new attorneys especially. Congratulations, Jean. Well done.
I'm Jean McCoy, and I'm an attorney here in Vancouver at Landerholm Law Firm. Been there almost 30 years.
Jean is smart, and Jean works hard, and Jean knows the law. This is a person who embodies our creed and demonstrates professionalism in every aspect of her practice.
Jean McCoy rises above. She has the highest regard for her clients, she has the highest regard for her professional colleagues, and she treats everyone with the utmost respect.
Clients would come in early on and say, I want an aggressive attorney, but aggressiveness isn't always the way to get your end goal. Really, it is being prepared, doing the hard work, working harder than anybody else. It's the difference between hearing and listening, and you can listen to someone, but if you don't hear what they're saying, you aren't going to understand where they're coming from.
It is so frequent that opposing counsel will say, "You are so lucky to work with Jean. She is an incredible attorney. She is an incredible person. Landerholm is so lucky to have her," and that is 100% true. When I have been in the courthouse and have heard the judges talk about Jean, it is always with respect. They know that she is a good advocate for her clients. She knows the law. She is reasonable and professional.
I will always do the right thing. I mean, that sounds corny, but I really believe that's what we all should do.
Jean has served as the president of our Clark County Bar Association and on the board of trustees. And in addition to speaking at CLEs and building community and collegiality and speaking to our Washington Women Lawyers group at a mentoring session, she also was instrumental in leading our Clark County Bar Association magazine for many years, which is called Hearsay. Other attorneys know that Jean is willing to take calls and answer questions and to collaborate. She believes when we all rise, we all do better.
In today's world, we can't really invite people out to lunch, but maybe we could meet in the park for coffee.
Adjectives that describe Jean: she's hilarious. You would never know it until you listen to her talk, and then you realize just how funny she is.
I have 2 daughters, and I have a husband too who puts up with all 3 of us.
Women like Jean are so important because Jean shows you can be an amazing attorney, and you can also be an amazing mother at the same time, and you can also be an amazing friend at the same time, and you can also be part of your community at the same time. It is possible to do all of those things.
No one can predict what anyone is going through this year, and so to give each other patience and grace, it seems to be the way that we need to move forward and not be so conflicted with each other.
Jean, congratulations on this award. It is so well deserved. I know that everyone at our firm is so privileged and thankful to work with you. Everything that you bring to the table in terms of your intelligence, your hard work, your knowledge, your abilities, and just yourself and your joy for life. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Gordon McLeod, and I'm a justice on the Washington Supreme Court. I've been asked to present the Sally P. Savage Leadership in Philanthropy Apex Award today, and I'm thrilled to do it. I'm thrilled and honored because the person who's receiving this award is someone who's poured enormous amounts of time and energy into pro bono work. They've done it for the last over 50 years of practice. They've done it through mentorship, through leadership, and through taking on the hard cases pro bono, usually intentionally. Some of those hardest cases were cases involving racial injustices. Who is that someone? It's Lem Howell. Lem, I know that a lot of that work was really thankless, especially in the 60s and 70s, the 80s and 90s, and the 2000s and the 2010s. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for that work. And now let's all take a look at what some of that work was.
I'm very happy and honored to have received the Sally Savage Leadership in Philanthropy Award. I've always been concerned about people. In the Bible, Micah chapter 6, verse 8, what does the Lord require of ye, O men? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. It's very important to do justice.
You cannot overstate the contribution to justice that he's brought to the city of Seattle and the state of Washington, or the example that he's personally set for the nation with his fierce tenacity, with his courage.
Lem Howell has opened so many doors for attorneys of color, African American attorneys. You always saw the passion that he brought and encouraging us young attorneys and giving us direction and guidance.
He has been one of the two foremost civil rights lawyers in this state.
I love being a lawyer. When I go into court, it's almost like going into church. This is courtroom. This is a great equalizer. So many of my cases didn't make any money, but it was a good case that established precedent. These were black contractors trying to get workers and contractors into the construction industry, and blacks were excluded. When it opened up and we had some black trainees on the job, the unions walked off the job. So I went into federal court. Judge Lindbergh ordered the unions back to work. My wife does not believe in public display of affection, but she kissed me and said she's proud of me. She's never done that before or since. The Larry Ward case, which went to change the inquest procedure in the state. Another case established the duty of a general contractor to provide a safe place to work for employees on a work site. That case was pleasing because I also received the top compliment of my life from Justice Horowitz. He said, "Let me shake your hand. You're a great lawyer. You have great persuasive ability." I had to go back to my room and cry.
Lem and his beloved spouse, Pat, charitably contribute to over 60 non-profit, charitable, professional, art, academic, medical, environmental, political, military, social justice, and faith endeavors every single year.
I have to thank the Almighty for his many blessings. And the chief blessing that I've received in my life is my wife, Pat. We've been married 60 years, and she's given me 2 great daughters, who in turn have given me 3 great granddaughters. I am very blessed.
What an inspiring story. Mr. Howell has focused on the issues of racial disparity and use of deadly force under the rule of law for more than 50 years. And now is the time when so many in our local and national communities are finally focused on that same issue. Former U.S. Attorney John McKay is here to talk with Mr. Howell about his legacy and whether he is hopeful that the current civil rights movement will lead to lasting change.
Lem, it's great to have this conversation with you today. We've known each other for a long time, many, many years ago. I won't even say how many years ago, when I was a brand new lawyer and you and I had a case together. We got to know each other and we quickly formed an alliance in the case to a very successful outcome. And we've been friends and colleagues, of course, ever since.
That's right. That's right. I remember it.
You've spent a career as a lawyer doing civil rights cases, and in particular, representing families whose family members have been killed by police. Can you talk about that for just a moment?
I can remember all the cases. My first case was back in 1966. We had Robert Reese versus City of Seattle. It made terrible law, but nevertheless, that was the first time I got involved with the police killing blacks. The second one was the Larry Ward case. They shot him unnecessarily, although he was surrounded by police.
After the Larry Ward case, how give us an idea of how many similar cases you took over the years?
I think I was counting once and I got to 15 or 16. I could name them for you now, but Larry Ward was the start of that.
You know, you reminded me when you said that just a moment ago, Lem, that at the time that I became the U.S. attorney, I had been away from Seattle for 4 or 5 years working in Washington, D.C. And when I returned, and this was at the end of the 90s, it seemed to me that anger had built up more and more in the African-American community in Seattle. And I don't know if you remember this, but I went to you and you and I got together and I said, Lem, what is going on? I need to know before I assume this new office. And you pointed out that one of the problems was that the United States Department of Justice, while it claimed to do a number of reviews, never let anyone know the outcome of those reviews. And you encouraged me to require the Civil Rights Division to come in and evaluate those cases. And before I was U.S. attorney, you told me that. And then when I was the U.S. attorney, I did that. And what I learned was they had left many, many, many families hanging with no outcome from the federal government. So
I requested the justice come in and examine that. And they never did. And years later, I got the thing said, we found no basis for coming in.
And you didn't think you'd see it. I can tell from the way you're responding. But since the George Floyd murder, we've seen the state Supreme Court issue, I think a remarkable letter that said things I never thought that I would see, followed by a letter from the presiding judge of the King County Superior Court. And what struck me as remarkable, and I'd be interested in knowing what you think, Lem, is that both courts said, we have a role in racist decisions that have been made in the past from this court. I never thought I would see that.
The Robert Reese case was a bad decision by the court. But then things begin to happen. There was some progress. When you compared to where it was, we made some progress.
Is it fair to say you're angry and hopeful? And if you're angry and hopeful...
That's very good, John. That's very good.
Okay.
I'm angry that the same damn thing continues where they're strangling or shooting blacks, and that we still have to be worried about black men on the street, that they could be stopped and killed and get away with it. And I also see that the Black Lives Movement wants to abandon chokeholds or the cases where cops have immunity. They want to do away with that.
I don't know that a lot of people who are going to watch this video are aware of the fact that of all the enormous contributions you've made in the bar, in elective politics, in handling civil rights cases that nobody else would take over the years, you have quietly mentored new lawyers. You've helped them study for the bar exam. You've advanced them into the practice. You've mentored them as a bar leader. Are you hopeful that some of these younger lawyers are coming into their own as those who can get out and help lead as a lawyer the change that we've been talking about?
John, I'm so glad you asked me that, because I'm really proud of the fact that I helped a couple of black lawyers who've done very well. Leroy McCullough said nice things about how I was a mentor to him. I was so pleased that Leroy is doing so well as a Superior Court judge.
There are a number of others, Lem, and just on behalf of them, on behalf of the Washington State Bar Association, I want to thank you for all that you've done, because you've given us hope for the future. There's so much more fighting and winning to do to try to overcome these obstacles, but you have contributed so much to that, and I thank you.
John, I'm about to tell you something, and I hope I don't break down and cry, because when it was said to me, at a bar association convention in Spokane, Judge Horowitz, who, as you know, was a brilliant jurist on the court, and he came over and said, "Let me shake your hand. You are a great lawyer. You have great persuasive ability." I went back to my room and cried. I was born to be a lawyer, to have the top of the legal profession tell you that is so moving. And I'm always amazed at people who leave the profession, because I love it so. I love it so. To me, my hero, Thurgood Marshall, changed the laws in 22 states with Brown versus Board of Education.
He's a hero to all of us, but you are a hero to us here in this state, in this region. You really are, and this gives us, I know you're not someone who says, oh, I have to have all of these awards, but it gives us a chance to tell you how much we respect you, how much we appreciate you've done for the law, and how much we love you. So thank you for giving me the privilege of being the person to ask you some of these questions.
John, well, thank you for doing this. And I thank Washington State Bar Association for this award. And I want to say there were a lot of changes that were made, but still more need to be made.
The fight doesn't end, right, my friend? The fight doesn't end.
Good evening. I'm Christina Larry, president of the Washington State Bar Foundation. We are so proud to bestow the Sally P. Savage Leadership and Philanthropy Award to Lynn Howell, who truly embodies the spirit of philanthropy this award represents. The Washington State Bar Foundation provides funding to the Washington State Bar Association programs that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in the legal profession, and it supports programs that promote access to justice. Lim embodies the values of the foundation with his lifetime of social justice work, pro bono service, and philanthropy. He is a steadfast supporter of countless organizations, including the Bar Foundation. Gifts to the foundation support WSBA's diversity efforts to help the profession reflect the communities it represents, as well as the Moderate Means Program and Powerful Communities Project, both of which who have profoundly impacted Washingtonians across the state. Your donations have helped to ensure access to justice for all, especially our most vulnerable populations. Thank you to everyone who has donated to the foundation. We are truly grateful, and we thank each and every one of you who will be first-time donors in our efforts to advance justice, equity, and inclusion. Congratulations, Lim. On behalf of the State Bar Foundation Board of Trustees, we are all so very proud of you.
Wow, that was great. I'm just in awe of Lem, and part of the privilege of getting to be in the bar, in a bar like ours, is that sharing of wisdom and hearing of experiences and passing of mentorship. And here's a bunch of additional luminaries who I think are also impressed you, and you'll be amazed by their stories. This next round has the Legal Innovation Award, the Pro Bono and Public Service Award for an individual, the Pro Bono and Public Service Award for a group, and the Norm Mailing Leadership Award, which is presented in partnership with the Washington Supreme Court's Access to Justice Board. Enjoy.
Hi everybody, I'm Attorney General Bob Ferguson, and I'm here to introduce this year's winner of the Legal Innovation Award. And this is an award that recognizes legal professionals and programs that advance and streamline the accessibility of legal services. And it's really my pleasure to help honor Latinx Legal Day in Vancouver, Washington with this important award. The Legal Innovation Award really epitomizes the spirit of Latinx Day in Vancouver. Now, this is held quarterly, since 2016, and the clinic creates a safe space specifically for the underserved Latinx community in Clark County. So congratulations to everybody who's been involved in the success of Latinx Legal Day in Vancouver. Congratulations.
About 20% of people who live in poverty in Clark County identify as Latinx, and they have a variety of consumer and civil needs. And this is the one outlet that they're able to access those services in a trusted environment.
We've been offering the Latinx Legal Clinic quarterly. We're offering free legal services to the community. And we serve anywhere between 40 and 66 participants at every clinic.
The partners in Latinx Legal Day are the Southwest Washington chapter of League of United Latin American Citizens, Latino Community Resource Group, which is a Clark County group, YWCA Clark County, and our organization, the Clark County Volunteer Lawyers Program.
All of our organizations were providing services to our community independently, and it quickly became apparent that combining services and collaborating was going to be a more effective and efficient way to provide services to the community, as we all brought something unique to the team.
It was a partnership that LULAC felt that, well, this is the nugget right here to really have a large impact, not only from a personal life, but to an entire community. That's what Clark County Volunteer Lawyers Program is, this ability to access justice.
When we started the legal clinics, it was the intent to offer immigration rights and crisis prevention family services. And we quickly realized that participants were coming in and they needed access to family planning, estate planning, probate, landlord-tenant issues, bankruptcy. The Clark County Volunteer Lawyers Programs brings anywhere from 10 to 20 attorneys. In addition to attorneys, we have at least 20 other volunteers. We have bilingual volunteers to provide sexual assault advocacy and domestic violence advocacy. We have a significant number of interpreters that are present.
It's like this one-stop shopping for legal assistance. It's a model that has worked really well for us. Looking back at all the families that got help, that had hope, that there is a system or a place that they can go to, I mean, it was beautiful. And if we can do that, we can do more.
Hi, I'm Justice Mary Yu of the Washington State Supreme Court, and I'm honored to introduce one of the recipients of the Pro Bono and Public Service Award, Joanna Plichta-Boysen. The daughter of immigrants, Joanna recognized the unique role a lawyer plays in protecting the rights of others. Her heroic efforts over the years as a top-rated nonprofit organization attorney has resulted in the provision of pro bono legal services to hundreds of individuals of limited means and nonprofit entities. She is currently at Davis Wright Tremaine, where she directs and oversees all aspects of the firm's nationwide pro bono, social impact, and corporate social responsibility programming. Congratulations, Joanna, and thank you for your dedication to justice. You make us all so very proud. And now tune into this video to learn more about Joanna's work.
My name is Joanna Plichta-Boysen. I'm the Chief Pro Bono and Social Impact Officer at Davis Wright Tremaine. The reason I went to law school was to work with communities like the one that I came from. I wanted to work with low-income immigrant communities. But once I started working for a law firm, I realized that I could have the same impact, or perhaps even a greater impact, because I could deploy the resources of the law firm, the brain trust, and working with these incredible lawyers to get as many attorneys to do pro bono as possible. I'm able to set vision and priorities and programming that makes the most amount of difference for communities that are at risk and in need.
When I think about Joanna, she just has all of the traits that you would want to see in someone who's going to be successful. It's a clarity of vision, and then building off of that clear vision, its focus, its commitment, its execution to have a positive impact.
When I was a new lawyer, I started volunteering for the Revision Project, which was a King County Bar Association pro bono program. After a couple years, the program was defunded. And so instead of just walking away from it, I approached the leadership at my law firm, Foster Pepper at that time, and said, this is a flagship project that we need to adopt. We created what was called the Domestic Violence Advocacy Project, and this project was dedicated to helping survivors in court. The best kind of pro bono that attorneys can do is one that has personal meaning to them.
Nationwide, 25 to 50% of Holocaust survivors still live at or below the poverty line. We rely so heavily on the expertise of our pro bono attorneys, and it cannot work without attorneys like Joanna. Not only did she recruit and train volunteer attorneys at a variety of firms, she also herself represented numerous survivors.
Polish is my first language, and so being able to communicate with Holocaust survivors in their native tongue and talk to them about their cases, and then being able to take their story and put it into a form that allowed them to get reparations and dignity from the German government was tremendous.
She has brought so much economic and humanitarian justice to survivors and their families clear across the entire state and across the nation.
There are so many opportunities to get involved, whether it's domestic violence work, whether it's Holocaust survivor work, whether it's veterans work, LGBTQ plus work, artists and musicians, animal rights, the environment. It goes on and on and on.
Joanna, you've had such a positive impact on the firm, on the communities where we live and work, on issues that are important to all of us here. We're so glad that you're a part of us at Davis Wright Tremaine. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Mary Fairhurst, retired Chief Justice of the Washington State Supreme Court. I am thrilled to announce that this year's winner of the Pro Bono and Public Service Award in the group category is Thurston County Volunteer Legal Services. This is an organization I have personally seen make a tremendous impact in my local community. This staff and team of volunteer lawyers represent the best and highest ideals of the legal profession. They give people who face serious legal challenges but who have virtually no resources a fighting chance. It is a well-deserved award. Congratulations and many thanks to everyone who steps up to serve as part of the Thurston County Volunteer Legal Services.
Thurston County Volunteer Legal Services started in 1994, and at that time it was Thurston and Mason County, and since then they have expanded.
We serve Thurston, Mason, Grace Harbor, Pacific, and Lewis counties, and we are the volunteer legal program for those counties. Low-income individuals and families come to us with varying legal needs. Family law is one of our biggest areas. We also are seeing, and have for the last couple of years, an increased number of people with housing issues. We also see other topics for wills and estates. We can see people that have consumer debt issues. Civil legal aid is a way that we help families be more self-sufficient. We're giving them the tools to go to court and get what they need, whether that's a domestic violence protection order, more child support, helping forestall or prevent an eviction.
It's helping people who really need the help and can't pay you for it.
We have between 125 and 150 attorneys and other legal professionals that volunteer for us. They usually see about 1,500 people at all of our legal clinics combined over a year.
Attorneys can really make a big difference in helping people to understand their rights and to not be as afraid of the court system, because it's a really intimidating place for most people.
It's a really good opportunity for attorneys to not only help their community, but get to know other attorneys.
Our volunteers are the heart of what we do, and so we want volunteers who are just willing to learn, and we will do what it takes to support the volunteers. Since COVID happened, we have been doing remote legal clinics.
Helping clients through TCVLS is probably like the most important work I've done.
When I help people through TCVLS, people are just, thank you so much for helping me. Nobody has ever helped me. Being in a domestically violent situation where their boyfriend takes the child away and they never see either one of them again is just what they're used to. And they don't know that it doesn't have to be that way and that somebody can help you advocate for yourself. That's gold.
I can't say enough about the dedicated work that they've done, the lives they've changed, and the opportunities they've provided in our legal community. It's just phenomenal.
Buenas noches. Esteban González de la Corte Suprema del Estado de Washington. Déjame hablar directamente a Malu Chávez. Felicidades. Tú mereces este honor, 100%. I'm Stephen Gonzalez of the Washington Supreme Court. It is my honor, indeed a privilege, to be here to introduce to you Malu Chávez, the Deputy Director of the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, recipient of the Norm Mailing Leadership Award. Thank you for your service on behalf of a vulnerable community. You represent immigrants with grace, with dignity, with courage, and with resolve. We deeply appreciate your work. We celebrate your work. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the exemplary work of Malu Chávez.
I've had the opportunity to witness Malu's growth as an attorney and as an advocate for immigrant rights for over a decade now, and she's held steady as a strong, dedicated person to this movement from day one.
I work with undocumented students and higher education access. The students often ask, can I go to college? And the question that followed was, how do I get documented? How do I get my green card? And that's what motivated me to become a lawyer, and specifically an immigrant rights attorney.
Professionally, I would say that Malu is the attorney that I would want to have represent me if I ever had to face any kind of justice system because of her commitment.
One particular case where Malu fought for close to 7 or 8 years and just not giving up, her drive and her dedication turned that around and resulted in a win.
Malu has been so instrumental in all of the responses to so many different things that the Trump administration has done, from the travel ban in the beginning to in 2018 when we had families being separated, including many parents who were sent here to our region. And then we found out that there's this group of over 200 asylum seekers, including many dozens of parents who were separated from their children. And Malu was there from the beginning, responding, organizing, working with volunteers, and really has just displayed tremendous understanding about what the community needs are, because she comes from directly impacted communities.
Her father told me that I should get a pair of roller skates because I needed it to keep up with her drive and her energy. That proved to be absolutely true.
Outside of work, I like to spend quality time with family and friends. And I like to eat. I like to go to restaurants as much as I can. And once or twice a week, I like to do Pilates.
She absolutely lives by the commitment to mentorship and diversity. Not only does she dedicate hours and hours to our clients, but also to our staff, to students, to anyone who needs a helping hand. Malu is someone who is always willing to be there.
When I work with students and new lawyers, I hope that in whatever they decide to make of themselves, that they will always have human rights, racial justice, and immigrant rights in their hearts. The work continues, and I'm ready to keep going because we can't stop now.
Count me down.
We're in the home stretch. Our third and final group of videos, including the Outstanding Judge Award, which is being given posthumously, the Award of Merit, the Lifetime Service Award, which is bestowed on 3 pioneering women in the legal profession, and the Justice Charles Z. Smith Award for Excellence in Diversity.
Hello, my name is Bill Heslop. I'm a 40-year member of the WSBA. I'm a past president of the WSBA, and I'm currently serving as the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Washington. In my career, I've appeared in front of many judges in many courts in this state, and it is with that background that it gives me a great deal of personal pride to present to you WSBA's 2020 Outstanding Judge Award. This award is presented for outstanding service to the bench and for special contribution to the legal profession at any level of the court. An outstanding judge is a person who is bright, who can set aside personal ego and agenda and bias. An outstanding judge is a person who brings great respect to the justice system and all that the judge does. An outstanding judge is a person who determines the law applicable to the case, determines and believes in legal precedent, and stare decisis, is a good listener, and is fair. Those qualities describe this year's recipient of WSBA's Outstanding Judge Award, the Honorable Michael McCarthy, is receiving this year's award posthumously. Judge McCarthy's legacy includes a 20-year career on the bench in Yakima County. He came to the state of Washington from Massachusetts while serving as a VISTA volunteer. He later served in the Yakima County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, on the Yakima County District Court bench, and ultimately on the Yakima County Superior Court bench. He also served Kittitas, Benton, and in Franklin counties on the Superior Court when they had conflict cases. Sadly, Judge McCarthy passed away from cancer in February of 2020, and so we present this to his family and to his legacy posthumously. We honor his service to the bench, to the public, to the bar, and to the legal profession. He was widely respected as a jurist, as a dynamic and upstanding judge, and he made a lasting, positive impact upon the legal community in Yakima County. In presenting this year's WSBA Outstanding Judge Award, we all send heartfelt congratulations to Judge McCarthy's family. His legacy is to remind us that in all we do, we serve the community and we seek fairness in all we do. And so I congratulate Judge McCarthy's legacy. I congratulate and thank Judge McCarthy's family and present this year's Outstanding Judge Award to the Honorable Michael McCarthy.
Judge McCarthy was quite a character. I would call him a large character in the community. He had an East Coast accent, an East Coast sense of humor, and when you saw him coming, you knew if there was a twinkle in his eye, he was going to say something brilliant and generally quite funny.
Unequivocally, he is probably one of the finest minds, legal minds, that we've ever had serve on the Yakima County bench, and quite frankly, I think that was also statewide.
Judge McCarthy will be remembered for his service, both in court and outside of court. He deserves this award because of his hard work, his deep knowledge in the law, and because he made sure that justice happened every day in his court.
I nominated Superior Court Judge Michael McCarthy for the Apex Outstanding Judge Award because I wanted to honor the over 40 years of public service that he gave to the taxpayers of Yakima County.
He moved from being a public servant as a prosecutor into the bench. He took on the most difficult criminal trials for a number of years.
I'd say he was the workhorse of this court. He loved the law, and he was our top litigation judge for many, many years, and was always considered by the parties to be fair and impartial and well-reasoned.
He never came across as though he didn't care. What you saw as he went and progressed from district court through superior court is a sense of jurisprudence, of the ability for him to make sure that the attorneys knew why he ruled a certain way and that he was trying to make the best decision under the law possible. What I saw that really made a difference for me is his time and effort in making sure that law enforcement officers and law enforcement agencies up and down the valley, whether it be in court or whether it be out on the street, did the right thing.
And he began teaching some criminal justice classes at Heritage University. And he just became almost like a pillar down there. And I had no idea until he was sick. So many kids came to his memorial, and a couple of them even spoke about how he had changed their lives. One of his favorite charities was called the Christmas Express. He would get the names and the ages of kids, typically 2 families, and he would head that up at the courthouse for people to get Christmas gifts.
This is a man that really did give all these years back to this community. He really won't be forgotten by the people of Yakima County. I congratulate Christina, Michael, Kennedy, and Jack for the love that they gave him and the love that he showed to them.
Christina and Mike's family, I just want to congratulate you on this posthumous award for Mike. He truly deserves this, and I will miss him. And I know that everyone around here already misses him.
Hello, I'm Chief Justice Deborah Stevens of the Washington State Supreme Court. I want to congratulate the WSBA on putting together this amazing virtual Apex Awards ceremony. It is my great pleasure this evening to introduce the winner of the 2020 Award of Merit. This award is the bar's highest honor and is given to an individual in recognition of a recent singular achievement. This year's winner is Captain Daniel G. Jones of Silverdale, Washington. Captain Jones serves in the Navy Reserve JAG at Naval Base Kitsap, and over the past decade, he has been primarily responsible for training and mentoring every JAG officer who provides legal services in this region. Captain Jones, we salute you for your leadership, your mentorship, and your exceptional service to the legal profession. Congratulations on receiving the 2020 WSBA Award of Merit.
My name is Dan Jones. I am an attorney with the Department of the Navy, and I have been an attorney since 1992 on active duty as a civilian and now as a reservist. During the week, my civilian job is as a legal assistance attorney for the Region Legal Service Office. My primary responsibility is to train first tour judge advocates.
Dan's deserving of the Award of Merit because as long as I've known Dan, Dan's always selflessly given his time and talents to help younger attorneys, younger JAGs advance their careers. He mentors them, he trains them, he takes them under his wing, he actually has them sit in on appointments and has a whole training program.
I do a lot of my reserve work back on the East Coast and see a lot of active duty folks that have come through the Northwest that are back East. And the first thing they always ask me is, how's Mr. J? What's Mr. J doing? They feel such a level of gratitude to Dan for molding their career.
I always had an open door. I always tried to be open and honest with the new attorneys. I do my best to educate them about being a leader, being an attorney, seeing clients, and being naval officers. As a result, hopefully they will turn around and do the same thing for brand new attorneys that come under their command. On the reserve side, I was lucky enough to be promoted to captain. I am one of 3 directors of the Navy Reserve JAG Corps. I am the director of legal assistance. The legal assistance attorneys serve all branches of service, and so we see Army guys, Navy guys, active, reserve, and retirees. Due to COVID-19, we had to mobilize folks for the USS Mercy and the USS Comfort, and those folks needed to get wills and power of attorneys before they mobilized, and it fell in my lap to make sure that those sailors obtained those services prior to being mobilized.
Our sailors and service members, when they have legal problems, it affects their ability to perform their duties at work, whether it be on a ship or a sub or flying a plane or working in a shore command. So the Navy and the military in general is very big on helping these folks out. He's probably helped thousands and thousands of sailors and dependents and retirees.
I was mobilized to Guantanamo Bay early 2007, mid 2008, and it's probably one of the most interesting things that I've ever done as a judge advocate. My primary role was as the deputy staff judge advocate to ensure that the detainees were cared for and that their living conditions and access to medical care and access to their attorneys was kept at the most transparent level ever. And so I'm very proud of what I did at Guantanamo.
Dan is a caring, compassionate leader, somebody that I know that I can always turn to get honest advice and guidance. Dan does it in a honest, compassionate way that just is all about trying to make you better as an individual, but also as a better leader and a better person, which then translates into making our reserve law program and the active component side a better environment to work. I just want to congratulate Dan, Mr. J, Captain Jones. You are a person that I admire and look up to, and you inspire all of us in the JAG Corps. Well-deserved, Dan. Way to go. We're all very proud of you.
You've been a good friend. You've been a good leader. You've been a good colleague, you've been a good servant. This award is just a culmination and a recognition of all the great things you've done and all the people you've served in your life and your career. I congratulate you, my friend. Bravo, Zulu.
Hi, I'm Gary Locke, former governor of the state of Washington, and it's my honor to announce Carol Pittick as the winner of the Lifetime Service Award. For more than 2 decades, Carol has tirelessly advocated on behalf of abused and neglected children in Kittitas County. Her legacy of service includes creating a network of safety and social justice for hundreds and hundreds of children, making our community stronger. Carol, thank you for your lifetime of dedication to our children. Congratulations.
From the year 2000 to the year 2020, Carol represented and maintained the CASA program in Kittitas County.
When I came to Court Advocates for Children 20 years ago, I really found my true calling. I could really see how we were truly helping real people, especially really vulnerable people, which are our children that don't have a parent that's able to take care of them adequately and safely. We've been able to serve every child who's been referred to us by the court between the number of volunteers that we've recruited and trained and our staff members who can serve until we have a volunteer that's available. In the 20 years that I served with the program, our caseload more than quadrupled.
On my work with Carol, we spent countless hours fundraising, promoting, planning events, writing grants. Because she was a well-respected attorney and could be seen as a colleague and a peer at the counsel table, the judges have often said to us the first report that they'll read is the CASA report, and it's the last word they want to receive.
She has this uncanny ability to see all sides and all perspective. She is a master of the civil rules and the rules of evidence, extremely detail-oriented. Very little got by Carol Pittick. She has a really unflagging work ethic. I could bounce ideas off of Carol, even though we sometimes had differing legal interests in advocating the positions.
We're all part of the system, and we all try to understand each other's points of views. And so we've been really lucky in our county to have the support of other members of the bar.
She didn't take no for an answer very well. She fought tooth and nail to get what she believed was the best interest advocacy for these children. And we have so many families we've worked with that have been part of the system would continue to ask for support and advice.
People are people, and they deserve to be respected and treated equally, regardless. And so that's my hope, and that's what I hope, even though I've retired, that I'll be able to somehow help be a part of those solutions moving forward so that everyone is treated equally and justly in our country.
Personally, she is just very kind, very considerate. It's that personal charm and diplomacy that she employed that I think made her so effective. Carol, congratulations. Your legacy and advocacy on behalf of dependent children in Kittitas County will be long felt for generations to come.
Carol, I think this is a tremendous honor. You have been an incredible leader and colleague, and I just don't know that I can say enough. On behalf of the Court Advocates for Children, good luck in all that you continue to do.
I'm deeply honored and humbled and absolutely flabbergasted to receive this Apex Award. I wanted to thank my family, and most especially my husband, Jim, of nearly 50 years, also a lawyer, and 5 grandchildren who are the love of my life.
Good evening. I am Washington State Senator Jamie Peterson, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Lifetime Service Award honoree D. Jean Shaw. Ms. Shaw began her trailblazing career by opening the first all-women law firm in Spokane, and in the ensuing 4 decades, built a legacy of excellence in her profession and in service to her community, which is currently Vancouver, Washington. Congratulations, Ms. Shaw. Well deserved.
I'm Jean Shaw. Back in the day, when I was in law school, I was in a class of 150 people. There were 5 women.
When Jean graduated from law school in the mid-70s, she was having a hard time finding a job.
She and a classmate, Kathleen O'Connor, later to be Judge O'Connor, started their own law firm. It was the first all-female owned law firm in Spokane.
Working with her was a real pleasure. Jean was extremely organized. She had a tremendous work ethic, and she was very bright. All-women's law firm, which I think was very important and assisted both of us in the leadership roles that we developed as we eventually went our separate ways because we had separate interests.
I came to Vancouver to practice, and she went on the bench. She became a court commissioner and then a Superior Court judge.
She had an affinity for real estate law, which is what she ultimately practiced in. She's a person who started out in a trailblazer role and has continued throughout all these years to be true to her goals and true to her vision about what she wanted to be as a lawyer. And along the way, she's helped a lot of other people in supporting women in the practice, the establishment of the Washington Women Lawyers in Spokane.
If I were to give any advice to anyone, I would speak to the younger women lawyers and tell them, don't be afraid to put on your big girl pants and hold your ground, state your case, don't back down, and don't let anyone tell you that because you're female, you don't know what you're doing.
Jean is known as one of the brightest legal minds in Southwest Washington, who is an inspiration for not only women attorneys, but also all attorneys in our community. I also know Jean to be a fierce negotiator and tenacious attorney.
One of the most fun things that I've done professionally, when I was at KinderCare Learning Centers, the company did a financing package, and it was for almost $1 billion. Bringing that all to a close and making sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, it was a very good time and a great deal of camaraderie with the group that I worked with to put it all together.
She's a wonderful friend to the Humane Society, has been on the board, was even president at one point.
I've been able to save the organization a fair amount of money so that they can use that money to help the animals, which is what makes me very happy.
I want to congratulate you, Jean, as the recipient of the Washington State Bar Association's Apex Award for Lifetime Service.
Congratulations, Jean, on this award. You deserve it. Enjoy it, and I hope to see you soon.
I'm Lori Jenkins, Speaker of the Washington House of Representatives. It's my pleasure to introduce Lifetime Service Award honoree Patricia J. Coatl, who forged a path as the first woman to practice law in the Tri-Cities area more than 4 decades ago. As one of the founders of that region's first domestic violence shelter, she discovered a calling as a family law practitioner and dedicated herself to advocating for equal rights and safety for women and children. Her personal and professional legacy is one of compassion, of excellence, and of service, which has transformed her community for the better. Kudos and congratulations to Ms. Coatl.
My name is Pat Coatl. I'm an attorney practicing in Richland, Washington. I come from a farm family in Walla Walla. I love the Tri-Cities and am very grateful that I have been here for all of these years.
Pat is deserving of the Lifetime Service Award because her entire life is about service. Her work, her volunteerism, her efforts here at Carroll College as a trustee, her dedication and devotion to the students, her dedication and devotion to her church. Everything is about service.
When I first came up to practice in Tri-Cities, I watched Pat argue a motion, and she was very boisterous. What I've come to learn is that that's Pat. She's going to be a voice. You're going to hear her. She's going to make that presence known.
It was very, very lonely the first couple of years of my law practice. Great resistance with the male members of the bar. They were not receptive to me at all. They wanted me to leave. And I just hung on. I became involved in the community, and that was probably the greatest thing that I did. And one of the individuals who talked to me was a woman that wanted to start a shelter for domestic violence victims. I started volunteering there. Other volunteers started referring people to me, and that began really my involvement in family law. And I've done that for about the last 40 years.
I have no problem whenever I have a case against Pat
telling my clients that she's going to be very tough, but she'll also be fair. I respect her very much. I find her a pleasure to work with, gives of herself, and that's a special quality.
Quaddle Law, and what is now known as Quaddle King Law, has sponsored numerous events in town. She and then her staff donate their time to give people free legal help. What I think is so incredible is that Pat has been doing that for years and years and years.
I had the opportunity to create a street law class, and I conned many of the lawyers and judges that year to teach with me. We volunteered our time from 7 to 8 o'clock every morning, 5 days a week, teaching these junior and seniors the law. It was the best experience I've ever had in my life.
One of the things that I've noticed is how much she cares about the students. Every time she's in town for a board meeting, she'll take a group of students out to dinner, out to coffee.
The experience of being around the young people and watching them develop their careers and their career paths has been wonderful.
I feel very blessed and proud to call Pat Quaddle my mother. My mom has been and is a tremendous advocate. Thank you to the committee for honoring my mother, her commitment to service, her family, and her legacy.
On behalf of the entire Carroll College community, Pat, thank you for all you do. You are truly a saint.
Good evening. I'm Justice Raquel Montoya Lewis of the Washington State Supreme Court, and I'm honored to be able to present the Charles Z. Smith Excellence in Diversity Award to this year's honoree, Catherine C.A. Romero. As many of you know, Justice Smith was an extraordinary mentor of young lawyers of color and law students of color, and he was the first African American to sit on the Washington State Supreme Court. Like Justice Smith, Ms. Romero has used her extraordinary abilities as an attorney to ensure that the next generation of Latinx lawyers who follow her are strong, confident leaders like she is. She has followed this path nationally as well as in the state of Washington, including co-founding the Intellectual Property Law Institute at George Washington University. She's also done amazing pro bono law work, and I'm very honored to be able to present this award to her this evening. Join me as we learn a little bit more tonight about this year's honoree.
Hi, I'm Catherine Romero, and I started my career as an engineer at Boeing, but I had always wanted to be a lawyer from the time I was about 8 years old.
I nominated Catherine for this Apex Award because of her efforts to increase the number of Latinx attorneys practicing intellectual property law.
At that time, the population of Hispanic attorneys was right around 4%. Of that 4%, less than 2% were practicing in IP and technology law. So I co-founded the Intellectual Property Law Institute, or IPLI, about 8 years ago with my colleague at Microsoft, Mick Conowall, and with the support of the Hispanic National Bar Association.
Every summer, the Institute hosts law students in Washington, D.C. All expenses are paid, and it's an opportunity for them to learn about careers in intellectual property and tech law, and also to network and meet mentors who can support them in their careers.
About 3 years into the program, we started noticing that the mock interviews were not really mock. These law firms were actually interviewing and started hiring, and they were taking students from Tier 3 and Tier 4 law schools who have become star associates there because we had done the vetting of those students and found the good students.
In the 7 years that the IPLI has been in existence, 186 law students have gone through the Institute, and of those, 80% have chosen careers in IP law.
I met Catherine back in 2013 when I attended the first Intellectual Property Law Institute, and we are all scholars of that same program and have benefited from her mentorship. When this opportunity came, it completely changed the trajectory of my law school career, trajectory of my career as an attorney.
Catherine Romero has been an angel that came into my life when I was facing challenges in law school. I was told by a couple of mentors, and these were assigned mentors who were supposed to support me, that I could not practice IP law, that I did not have the background. Connecting with Catherine in the IPLI family was a blessing. So Catherine, I'm very grateful for you because I am doing exactly what I wanted to do.
She has spoken to me at some of my lowest points, built me up, and given me constructive feedback when I needed it.
When Catherine just casually mentioned that she was a single mom going through law school and being an attorney, that helped me feel empowered in my identity, not just as a Latina, but also as a single mom.
I'm humbled to say that I wouldn't be the attorney that I am today. I wouldn't be in the position that I am today if it weren't for Catherine Romero.
Catherine cares. She cares about you as a person, but also as an attorney. When Catherine calls, I always say yes. I can never say no to Catherine. And she exercises that power because she knows that it's not only about what you have been able to do and achieve, but also what you can do for others. And as a community, you help each other out and you help each other succeed. And together, you're stronger than one person.
Standing on her shoulders, and now we are all able to create the next generation of attorneys who are going to come behind us.
My wonderful IPLI kids, I'm so proud of all of them, and I love you all.
Felicidades,
Catherine.
Love you.
Awesome. What an amazing night also. Thank you so much for joining us and helping to learn about these luminaries, and I hope you can talk about their experiences and spread the word about what they've done here.
Hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank all of our nominators for the time you took to highlight these incredible legal luminaries. If you know someone who deserves an Apex, the nominations are open in January. Big thanks to Interchange Media, who created the award winner videos, and to the Gunther Group for their help producing our first ever virtual awards show. Good night, everyone.